Some tips when it comes to acting and behaving at work, from talking loudly on the phone, texting during meetings, dressing inappropriately, showing up late. Bad manners, not just bad form. They can be bad for business, and they can negatively impact a company's bottom line and, of course, employee morale. But if you find yourself to be one of those people whose workplace behavior needs a makeover, or you know someone who does, this is for you, because our next guest is the author of a new book called How Not to Act Like at Work. And it includes 7 reminders of how to be who you really want to be at work and in life. And the author, Melissa Davis, joins us now with all the details. Good morning. Good to see you this morning.
Good morning.
Getting a lot of attention with this headline here.
You know, it's catchy. It's catchy.
It definitely is catchy. Got to put it out there, right? Take some chances.
Exactly.
Let's talk about some things here. I will throw a few things out your way, and then you explain what we can do better to try to help people out, help everybody out. Okay, first of all, develop empathy, taking things personally. Are we talking about being empathetic to employees, making it not about ourselves? What are we talking about here?
To everybody in general. And oftentimes we'll see things in the hallway, or somebody will give us that look, and we'll think, what is wrong with them? And yet, if we figure out it's not all about us, not all about you, that sometimes lots of us are dealing with things in our personal lives. Somebody cut us off driving to work. We've got a family member that's ill. So when we get ourselves all upset about something, recognizing that they could be dealing with something. So instead of getting really upset, recognize that it's often about the other person.
I know one of the things that you said was, yeah, don't be quick to say, oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're dealing with here. We don't.
Right. And when you say to somebody, I know just how you feel, you really don't know how I feel.
All right. Building trust is key in the relationship of anything, including work, right?
Right.
All right. How do we do that better?
Part of it is being open and being honest. If I'm open to you, if I'm authentic, if I'm willing to share something to establish some sense of connection, that helps to build trust. From a work perspective, doing what I'll say I do builds trust. Setting a timeline and then being able to fulfill that. Just being real and following through on what I said I would do.
All right, and communicating, I mean, we think in the office, workplace, communication should be key. We also know a lot of times it's not. How do we be a better communicator?
Part of it is being aware of your body language. So when I show up, what am I presenting to you? Am I open? Am I listening to you? But I'm not really, because I'm giving that look sort of like I'm formulating what I want to say afterwards. So actually practicing active listening and being real about how to listen to you, focus on what you're saying, and not jump in, interrupt, or tell you what I want to tell you, because obviously I'm right, you're not, right? So if I want to share that and cut you off, I'm not really listening to you. My
body language is probably showing that, because I'm waiting to see what the next tip is right now while I'm supposed to be listening to you. So you probably picked up on that. Being a team player. Right. Sometimes it's hard to be a team player if you're not on board with maybe whatever the project is that you're working on. Maybe you know that some people might just be a little difficult to work with. How do we take all that, work through it, and still consider ourselves a team?
So if I'm concerned about the project, my granny used to say, it's not what you said, it's the nasty way you said it. So to be able to say, you know, I feel uncomfortable with where this is going. Can we talk about this a little bit more? As opposed to saying, that's stupid, that'll never work. So it's all, you know, language has power. So being able to communicate effectively, build that team, and just say, you know, help me understand how you see this fitting in, which is much different than that won't work.
Right.
And then being a team player, too. If we say we're going a certain direction, me getting on board with that and not going, oh, we should have done it my way.
Right. Bringing the best version, you say, of you to work. What do we mean by that?
I need to show up. I need to show up authentic. I need to show up real, ready to be a part of a team. I need to show up and want to be there. I need to be able to bring the skills that I have and say, help me understand, again, where we're going with that. Or here's an idea I want to share. Or, okay, I can see that won't work. It's all right. So for me to be present, understand what's going on, want to work with people. I'm not saying you have to have somebody home for Christmas dinner or Thanksgiving dinner with you, but at least care about people on your team.
All right, and then you talk about connecting. In what way are we talking about connecting?
Again, just being able to communicate effectively, listen to somebody's ideas, even if I maybe don't understand what you're going through. I've realized what it's like to go through something, to go through a problem or situation, so I can have empathy for you and understand that some days life isn't always great.
Did this entire concept, this entire book, did it come from any particular moment that you had in the workforce?
So I wrote the story about Lou because I was working with so many different organizations, and people would tell me stories, and I'd think, that can't happen. And then the more I would hear, the more I would realize that, wow, there are a lot of these things happening. So I walked away one day and said, if I could just teach people how not to act like a bleep at work, life would be easier. Because we think that because you breathe, you can communicate. But that's not true.
Yeah.
We know that.
And it's tough too, because obviously you can look at it, and just the tips that you have here in a couple of ways. You can look at it as me. Am I that bleep? Am I doing bleep behavior? Or if I already know that person, can I constructively convince them to perhaps act differently without overstepping my bounds at work?
Right. So I've learned that if I show up differently, I get a different response. I can only control my own behavior. I can't control yours. I can control mine and helpfully manage yours differently, but I have to be in control of me. And so I've learned that if I will show up in a certain way, if I don't have a go at you, then I don't get that back in return. Right. If I come from a centered, calm place, I typically get that in response as well.
It starts with you, and hopefully
Definitely.
it all feeds off of that and branches out throughout the workplace and beyond if you're working on projects that extend outside of the workplace.
And there's a part of every one of us in this book. We always want to blame other people,
right.
but we're all in
Sometimes
there.
you have to take that look internally. Right?
Exactly.
Say, how can I control this situation?
Exactly.
Thanks for joining us this morning. Appreciate
Thank
the book
you.
is out now. If you want more information, you can pick it up there and get all the juicy details inside it.
Thank you so
Appreciate
much.
you being here today. All right, 9:37 right now. And sometimes we just tell it how it is, guys.
You got to keep it real.
How many
Keep it
copies do you
100.
want?
3. Right now, 3.
I'll take 4.
All right, well.